Everybody, I'm so excited to introduce you to Melody Masters. I'm having a really hard time taking her seriously because she looks like the bride of Jason. Oh, it's like the Masked Singer, Melody. That's what this is.
All right. That's what it is. Absolutely. All right.
I love it. So, Melody is one of our experts who really helps us to understand how to use light to heal at a cellular level. So, right now we're experiencing a very big health issue on our planet. And you and I were talking the other day, and you were telling me that light is huge for us right now. So, can you talk a little bit about that?
I will. I'm going to take the mask off so people can take it a little more seriously, right?
It's so good though. And
It's
then
so
later
fun.
you can tell
talk
people
about
what
this. Yeah, mask.
we love the mask. So we're going to get down to like what people are freaked out about first, and then we'll talk about beauty because that mask could make you real pretty.
I know, right? You know, right now it seems like everybody's really, really concerned, obviously, with their immune system and how they are dealing with exposure to virus. And then the secondary bacterial infection, which is something that we haven't really even spoken a lot about yet, at least not in the news.
Yeah, haven't heard that just yet.
You know, that's follows through often after viruses come a bacteria. But let's not, I don't want to project that out there, but the main thing is supporting our immune system. And, you know, when we do that, we have to have good nutrition and we have to have good support. And one of the areas that we are sadly lacking, most of us, is in light. You know, when you see a plant that is starved from light, it's usually all droopy, it's not green and vital. Well, we as human beings, as a sentient being, have the same experience. So when we're not getting light, we're not outside. So that is one thing I'm really encouraging people right now when you're in quarantine or you're being distanced or whatever, and you're staying home. That doesn't mean you have to stay inside the house all the time. You can go out in your yard, go out for a walk, getting some sunlight, getting light, which then light itself goes in through our eyes, through the pupil pituitary pineal gland. And what that does is it actually activates and feeds our cells at the level of the mitochondria, just wakes it up and says, hey, you know, it's time to start functioning.
Can you tell everyone about the mitochondria, just in case they're not aware of what it does in the process?
Real basically, you know, the mitochondria is the activating part of the cell. It's kind of like the carbohydrate. It's where the carbohydrate, listen to me, carburetor. It's like the energy part of the cell. So it's like sometimes when we're not getting good nutrition, we're not getting water, we're not getting light, it just kind of tamps down. And when the mitochondria is tamped down, then the rest of your cells are not getting the signals to do what they're supposed to do. And when it comes specifically to the immune system, what we're really focusing on is the macrophage of the cell. And I envision the macrophage as a little frog sitting on the log, you know, just being kind of doing what it's doing. And when it's functioning properly, anytime a virus, a bacteria, anything that's not appropriate food for the body, for the cell, that little frog will stick out its tongue real quick and capture it and gobble it up like it would a fly. Well, when our immune systems are compromised, that frog is in a slump. The macrophage is in a slump. So what happens is when we're getting adequate light and there's a communication between the mitochondria and the macrophage kind of gets woken up and says, oh, look, there's all these things flying by. I need to be active. And that's what really helps to support our immune system at the all-important cellular level, because that's pretty much where everything begins. And that's one of the things that light is really wonderful for. And there's been quite a bit of research that's been done recently, specifically on blue light at a nanometer of about 454 nanometers, which is the shade of the blue, the color of the blue, and also green. And there's some pretty good PubMed studies out there that really talk about these specifically for supporting the body's ability to not to succumb to viruses, to bacterias, to funguses and molds, all the things that can come in and really challenge our system.
Wow.
In a mouthful,
That,
right?
yeah. But light is an essential nutrient, as we've talked about before.
Right.
And it's especially important right now to amp up that blue and that red light. Is that correct? Did I
Blue
get
and
that right?
green. But
Blue
let me
and
be
green.
really clear, the nanometer is important. So, there's a lot of information about blue light, particularly from a computer screen or all our
Right.
screens, that are not really good for us. And part of that is because the nanometers are high. So it almost is closer to like an ultraviolet light, which we know is not good to be around all the time. So the nanometers are specific, to a lower level that can really be what's feeding us. And so being exposed to light and then frequency, which is what I'm working with, is the combination of the light itself, LED lights, which are incoherent, which means they spread through the whole body, looking for cells that are deficient in light, kind of like a heat-seeking missile. They find them, and then being able to give the information of a specific frequency that might say, let's boost the immune system. Let's boost our lymphocytes or our red blood cell or whatever is needed. And looking at the body's wisdom, when you have the nutrients there, then, it'll do it on its own.
So really, getting to like the truth of our bodies are designed to heal.
Yes.
So I think that's so important that people remember that right now, that your body is designed to be resilient. It is designed to heal. And likely if you have been in contact with this virus or any virus,
right.
Yes, it is stronger. I mean, I am not a doctor. And so I guess and I know you're not either, but you're a practitioner. And so, what we know is it's just stronger than a lot of other viruses, and it's highly contagious, which is why we're having the pandemic.
Well, and we haven't had an opportunity to, and some research says that it would take a lot for us to build an immune response to it. So what's happening is then there's also that stress factor. Because this is a whole new way of living in the world that we're living right now, when things are shutting down, we have to be at home,
We've never had this experience ever in our lifetime.
No, we have not. We are not. We have not. And so it's like we don't know what to do. We don't really have a plan in mind. And unfortunately, that triggers a lot of fear. And fear sends the wrong hormones out to the body that actually compromise the immune system. So, trying to be in a relaxed state. So we get in that fight or flight survival mode. And that's, where we're seeing people buying the hordes of toilet paper and all of the things because they're in survival mode. And it's like, okay, it's fascinating what we're choosing to hoard or grab into, but it just shows how unprepared we are.
I am laughing and not judging. Now, I have not started hoarding, but I have been in the grocery and spent probably $600 in 2 days, which maybe I would have anyway. I mean, if you're living in a house full of people who are there all the time, they're just going to eat a lot more. So you do have to buy stuff. But the hoarding situation, I mean, it's not Y2K. The electricity is not going out. Our water is currently not compromised. Like, we're going to be okay. Like, we really are going to be okay. And unfortunately, yes, there are people who have died, and there will continue to be people who perish. And so we really do bless those people and shine the light and their families, because it is tragic no matter what.
Right. And I think this thing is it's just allowing us an awareness that we have not had, particularly in this country.
Yes.
Our society has not had to deal with these kind of things and make these kind of choices and be prepared. I mean, back in the day, if even you go back to the Depression and whatever, people were prepared.
Yes.
They had things. They ate at home. They knew how to, what if something happened? Or when I lived up in the mountains, I always had plenty of things in case I got stuck there, right?
Yeah.
But
yeah.
the day-to-day thing and living in the city and all of that, we really are not prepared for it. And then there's also that universal, or maybe not universal right now, but just the energy
Yeah.
that is just building, and it's
It's
very
very
active.
frenetic. Yeah.
It's very frenetic. Nobody is in their comfort zone. Very few people are in their comfort zone.
Yes.
And what that has done, unfortunately, then is it creates that sympathetic system to be activated in the body, aka your adrenal glands. So you're producing adrenaline all the time.
Yeah.
That in itself creates a lot of acid, which is a wonderful environment for viruses and bacteria. And then our immune system becomes challenged because it can't keep up with it. And so then we become a little bit more available to
Yeah.
get sick.
Yeah.
And so that's where trying to calm, and I think everybody is doing the best they can. I really have no judgment with it.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Or try not to be judgmental, but it's an interesting thing to watch how people are really triggered
Yes.
and doing things without thinking it through, perhaps just kind of reacting.
Oh, yeah. Well, I mean, we're set up to be reactionary in this world. We've been conditioned to be reactionary. And, and I apologize for everyone who's listening this for like the third time, but I really do honestly believe that we were at a tipping point, and that the level of stress that everyone was operating at, even though we're all, like most of the people I know are super happy and enjoy and living their best lives, we're doing it so fast and running ourselves into the ground. And I do think that this is the universal intelligence saying, people, you've got to reset. And so we're shutting the whole thing down so that you can get real. Because I, and it's not a judgment about other people. I'm talking to myself, my husband, my kids, my brothers, my friends. I'm talking to all of us, and it's not a judgment. It's just that we have been in such a state of stress that honestly, I mean, say this virus, I mean, I've heard that we've had a form of this virus for a very long time. This is a new version, and potentially, and everyone knows I'm not a doctor, and everyone knows that I just want to put it out there that this is just me thinking out loud, but potentially the level of stress and that frenetic energy at a certain point mutates our genes, mutates viruses, mutates things. And it's like, it's going to a whole other level because of the way that we are evolving. And this is a call to chill. This is a call to like, get real.
It's like the universe will get grounded. You need to be grounded. You need to stay at home. You need to check in with your family, check in with people. I've heard from people that I haven't heard in a long time just saying, how are you doing with this? Which is lovely.
Love that.
That's some of the positivity of it. Are you okay? People are checking in. But yes, we have gotten moving so fast that we don't even realize how fast we're moving. We don't realize how stressed we are. We're numb to it.
Which is why we're so afraid that it's all stopping.
Right. Because
we're so afraid.
And it has defined us. This is how I am in the world. And when that leaves, then it's like, I don't know how to be in this world. And I'll tell you, this reminds me of, I went through the fire a few years ago and lost my home, and was in that kind of survival thing,
Everything was topsy-turvy. Like you literally lost everything.
Right. So everything is gone. Everything that you think that defines you all of a sudden switches. And I think that's what we're all experiencing now.
Yes.
Because we're having to make changes, adjustments, and do things a little bit differently.
But we are resilient, and we will rise, and we are powerful beyond measure. Remember who you are and rise in your power. Rise.
Right. And remember what we know these things. I saw a great thing earlier today about, your ancestors knew what to do in situations like this. So when we talk about epigenetics and the genetic changes that our body's making, it's like, maybe reflect on that and say that somewhere in your gene pool, you know how to survive pandemics, viruses, whatever's happening.
I love that.
And just hold that energy and ask for information if you need to, or however you connect with that. And then get calm in your own being and say, okay, what can I do here? How can I support myself and the people?
Yes. And I love that too. It's how can I support myself, but also how can I be of service?
Right.
Because, we are very narcissistic, each and every single one of us. We were born in narcissism, and some of us like further down the line than others where it's actually a real problem. But now is the time to say, okay, yeah, put on your mask first, because it is important to put on your mask first. Because I used to love to be like, oh my God, put on your mask, Melody.
I'm sorry.
First.
It was just like I couldn't resist.
You could not resist her.
Oh.
We need to name her.
She does need a name. I'm not sure what
she does need a name. So what is your advice? You are, just for people who don't know you, you are a light worker. You're a practitioner. You're a nutritionist. You really work in healthcare and help people to become balanced and healthy. And you do a lot of this through many different ways. Light being your, really what you're focused on, as we've talked about. And the light is so powerful to help heal our bodies. So we really need that right now. So, what's your take? What advice do you have for people to find some balance in the chaos?
Well, I think obviously we need to be responsible. So the idea of not being in large groups, and if, my personal feeling, the holistic fair was just canceled this weekend here in Fort Collins, or
yes,
rather. And one of the things is I, in thinking about what I was going to do with it, I thought, I could probably go and I will be fine, but I could then become a carrier of this virus. And then I tend to see and work with people perhaps that have a compromised immune system, so then I'm contaminating them. So the responsible thing was like, don't do that. And that's why when I say, when you take care of yourself physically, then you also are going to be helping the people that you're exposed to or that you're around. But I think, the hand washing, of course, but we all wash our hands. Being mindful of cleaning surfaces, all that kind of thing. Maybe not hugging. That seems a little extreme sometimes because I'm a hugger. So it's like,
yes,
I can't go up and touch somebody. But if that's going to keep us safe, that's going to keep us safe. But
can I ask you real quick? So like, say you live in a house with a group of people. I mean, y'all already got each other's germs anyway. You're okay to hug the people in your house. You're talking about your friends that you don't live with.
Or, people that you haven't seen for a while that you run into at the store, and it's like, greet them and you want to give them a hug. Well, you don't know who they've been around.
That's the thing.
They don't necessarily know who they've been around as far as who's been, in contact with this or not. So it's just kind of using common sense. But at the same time, common sense does not mean we have to be afraid. I think, there's that thing about we attract what we fear. So if we can stay in a place of centeredness and being powerful in who we are and sending the message to our body that we're strong, that we're not to fall victim to the virus or fall victim to all of the things that are going around with that. And then, do some basic things. I think, making sure you're drinking plenty of water. Try to get rest. I mean, these are kind of the fundamentals.
Like we should be doing those things anyway.
But this is because we are not good. We have not been good students, I don't think. This is the universe saying, okay, here's the deal. You literally are grounded from going out and playing now. You've got to stay home.
You played too much.
You played too much. And that play might look like really hard work, but you need to come home, remember how to cook food for yourself, because you can't go to restaurants now so much. Remember the things that are important. And I think this is part of a big healing opportunity that we're getting, or that we're on the cusp of. I think it's part of what we've been waiting and talking about for years and years and years.
Yeah. It feels like we've been doing a lot of freaking talking, and now it's here.
And now it's step up, and what can you do? And like you mentioned, being of service to others. How can you offer when you see somebody in need, or underserved or whatever that is, what can you do to support them as part of your community and as part of
Yes.
our whole world family?
Yes. I love this. I think this is beautiful, beautiful information. And, the thing is that, we will get through it, and we're going to be okay by and large. And, I really do believe that. I really do.
Oh, I think so too. I think that, we're a resilient species and we are adapting. And this is just calling us all to adapt in a place that we're not comfortable with, because we haven't had to do this before, at least not in this,
Yeah.
society, in this
Yeah.
society. And it's like, okay, so how does that look? It's going to be different, but it's a new normal. That's okay. We need a new normal on many, many levels.
A to the men, Melody.
Yeah.
A to the men.
We can do it. We can be flexible. And I think that's the other important thing, is try to go in the flow with this.
You don't have a choice. It is literally changing. Right. I sent an email out yesterday that is kind of irrelevant today.
Right? No, I know.
Like, oh, great.
Okay, well, no, plan B, switch again.
Switch again. Switch it up.
Yeah.
But we are here to serve. We are here to serve the world. That is why we're here. And we were created in this time to rise to the occasion in this moment. And so we are all here on purpose right here and right now. So I feel like, back to what you were saying, we've been talking about this for years and years and years and years. And like, it became very clear to me when I was about 15 and my mom was helping me on my spiritual journey. Cause I was like, I'm starting to see spirits and it's freaking me out. And like, I didn't know what was happening. And so she really started working with me then. Like, I am very lucky that like my spirit guide is my mother, because, and really my spiritual teacher, like I'm really so grateful for that. And I mean, I'm 44, so that was 30 years ago, but I knew 30 years ago that I came to this planet to make a difference. And then I really became aware around the age of 15 that there was something that was going to occur and that I was created for that moment. And so, I hope that we can all come to a place and come within just so we can listen to know what it is for us to do in those moments, because that's all we have. We have that, and we have each other, and we really are all one. This is one world, and like truly one world. Like your brother in Spain, and you now have the same thing, or susceptible to the same thing. And it's okay. We are going to be okay, and we're going to be better for it.
We're going to be better, absolutely, because we're going to, through this, it mutates into something stronger. As a human being, as a race, we get to do that. As a species, get to be able to say, okay, look what we have done, and look at how we can do better now because we've been through this.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's what happens, and I agree. We've, most of us have had a sense that something's going to happen, and we keep thinking it's happening, and it's like, no, this is so significant. Because here's one of the things that, when it starts to affect our health, because the truth is our health is really the only thing that we have. It's the only thing that allows us to be effective in the world, whether it's work or play or whatever. When our health starts to be affected, it really levels the playing field. It's not about, I know some people have gone through tremendous financial losses with all of this, but it's not about how much money you have or don't have, or what a nice house you live in or whatever, when it's your physical health. We all share that. We all have these bodies that work essentially the same way. And we're all being affected by that. And it's a very humbling experience to say, oh, I have to take care of my physical body in a way that I haven't for a long time, because it's worked fine for me perhaps, but now I need to, do that. And what happens is I think it's just putting us all on this very similar place of going, okay, now we can make better choices.
Yeah.
Around. And we will, because we're good.
And we will. Yeah, we totally will. Well, I could talk to you for weeks upon end. Like, we just need to have a retreat and snuggle from 8 feet apart in a bubble. but I would love for everyone to know that Melody is going to shine her light on us on April 18th at the Wellness Summit, the Age and Vitality Summit, which is now a virtual summit. So we are rising to the occasion and want everyone to be healthy. So Melody will be there, which goes back full circle to the mask, because Melody is going to be on the beauty panel. So it's Beauty 2020, and you're going to be talking to us about really like how light can transform our skin from the inside out. And what's that little tidbit you like to tell people about that mask? That what's it do? Has the potential to do?
Yeah, this mask has all kinds of little lights in it. And what it does, it can potentially increase your collagen up to 34%. It is FDA cleared, which means that there's efficacy. They've seen results in this for fine lines and wrinkles. So the whole thing is it really ups your game, but it's coming also from the inside out to be able to say your cells are happy and healthy. They're replicating happy and healthy rather than degenerating. And it's boosting that collagen. Who doesn't want that, right?
Melody, look at her skin. It's like absurd. She has the most beautiful skin, and she is shining her light. So you'll learn more from her at the summit. And then I think she's going to be nice enough to give you guys a special deal on some of this light therapy, but we'll get into that later. Yeah. I cannot thank you enough for just joining us for this special edition of the Wunder Life podcast, the 411 on, you know, staying well, igniting your light, sparking your power, and